Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley is brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions, your solution for all business social media needs. If you need a team of social media marketers and content creators to help you build your brand on social media, text Wes 2020 to 541-709-6502 today. Get started building your brand on social media. Success is defined differently by every individual. Some have never even considered what it is. I hope when I get older I'll be successful. What does that even mean? Money? Cars? Big house? On this show, we strive to look at it a little deeper, learning from successful individuals on what they believe success really is and how to obtain it. Everybody, enjoy the show. This is Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success Podcast. I am Wes Tankersley, your host. Today we're doing our bonus coverage episode on Brian Sales. Before we get to that, though, let's talk a little bit about the show. Hey, if you are listening to this on the podcast platform, please go like, share, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps grow the show. Getting that growth out there, helping people spread the word will help create a bigger audience for me to help me to share my message with more people. So whatever you can do, if you can do that, I always post your reviews and shout outs on my Instagram account. So if you want to shout out, review it, let me know what you think. If you have any feedback, please Instagram DM me or get in contact with me. All the links are in the show notes. A couple things we want to talk about. If you want to sponsor the show, DM me, let me know. Email me, wes@westankersley.com. We do pre-rolls, post-rolls, mid-rolls, wherever you want. There's a pricing for it. I can get that information to you. Another way that you can get on the show weekly is to donate. If you go to the link that says, again, it's in there. It's the Shaping Success Show. Donate to the show. You can go in there and donate. And if you donate, if you're the top donator of the week, you can sponsor the last question. Everyone who has listened to the podcast knows that the last question is, how do you shape your success? And we've been doing the last question sponsor for that. The last two have been Warriors Collection and Blind Appeal. So if you're interested in getting your name and getting a last question sponsorship, go ahead and donate to the show. All right. So that's kind of the little work we got to do on the side. We're going to talk about Brian, the episode with Brian. Brian was an Army Navy vet. He is the host of See Through It podcast. Also, he owns the brand Warriors Collection, which if you haven't checked that out, again, we'll link this in the show notes. You want to go check it out. Go check out the episode if you are finding value in what we're talking about here, because the episode was great. One of my favorite ones, talking to Brian, kind of getting into how the Army and the Navy shaped him, how he's building his brand and things about his podcast. So let's get talking about that a little bit. One of the things that happens with a lot of people I've noticed through my life is that, as a teacher, I had a lot of people who didn't quite want to go to college, didn't want to quite go to straight to work. They wanted to figure out what they were doing, and they decided to choose as a career the military. And so, Brian had kind of a few setbacks. He was trying to figure out what to do with his life, and he decided to settle on the Navy, and ended up being a great thing for him. And so he talks a lot about that and how, different types of setbacks and things like that can always lead you down a path that you're looking for. Sometimes it's a good path. Sometimes it's a bad path. It was very good for him. When he got through the Navy, he took a little break and then decided that, hey, I need to go back and try again, and ended up in the Army. So, again, we always try to say this, it's like, thank you for your service. Thank you for doing what you did for us. Those people have always been out there, and whether you agree with the cause or not, there's people who are defending our right to live in this country. And so, in defending us from outside forces, without them, we probably wouldn't be as protected as we are. We wouldn't be protected as we are. So the other thing that he talked about was looking for fulfillment, and that's something that we deal with on a daily basis. And I know for sure that with me, that I've dealt with looking for fulfillment in what I do daily. And that's the thing, is we're always chasing this dream, and some people will just say, it's not possible. It's not something that I can do. It's not something that I'm not good enough. I'm not having that doubt that you're able to fulfill whatever it is that you're looking for. And I'd like to talk about the importance of writing things down. I listened to a podcast this morning from one of my buddies who was talking about how writing it down makes it real. And I'm struggling with that right now. A lot of us through COVID, through what's going on in this whole situation with not being able to go work or whatever. I have a different type of situation that I've dealt with, but gaining weight is a big thing right now. People are sitting at home. They're not as active as they used to be. Switching from a job as a physical education teacher myself, when I was teaching PE, physical education, I'm standing around, not standing around, but I'm standing, I'm moving, I'm always physical. And then all of a sudden I go to this job where I get to drive around, I get out of my truck, I go talk to someone, I get back in my truck, I drive around some more. So the physical part of that is gone. So I have to actively seek out ways to make that happen, which is not as easy as it sounds. A lot of people who work out every day just go say, well, I work out every day. But in reality, they don't tell you that it's tough. They have to do it. It's an active decision that you have to make. You have to make that decision to get off your butt when you get home, when you're tired, and do that in addition to what you're doing. And that's part of the reason why I became a PE teacher, but, it just didn't work out. So, there's a lot of people who don't understand how to exercise and how to do that because we're not prepared properly for life after school, where they make you do something. They make you do it, right? And so that's the one thing. It's like, oh, they make me do it. They make me go to PE class. They make me do it. And if you don't enjoy it, if you don't create enjoyment or lifestyle out of that, then you end up not having it. So, find that fulfillment in whatever you do, but then also create and know that you're willing to go after it. Okay. The other thing is don't let people say you can't do something. He talked about that. It's people sit here and they tell you over and over again. Those are some of the things that deter you. I know that me growing up, it was kind of like, hey, you need to go to college. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't, whatever. Everyone's always telling you can't do something. But if you've really done the research and you've really figured out whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, whatever your successes are, and in your heart that that's what you want to do, then don't let anyone else tell you you can't. Don't let those outside voices sit there and tell you you can't do this, you can't do that, you're never going to make it, you're going to fail. Kick that stuff out. Kick it to the curb and follow your heart. Know that what you're going to do is right. Okay? So don't let that. If you know what your goals are, write them down and pursue them and do whatever it takes to do it. One of the things that I've talked about before is finding the expert, the person who is doing what you want to do, and re-engineer it over and over again. Follow what they're doing. They're successful in it. Talk to them. To find a mentor. Talk to someone who can tell you how to pursue your goal, how to create that success, because they've already done it. And chances are they can save you a few steps along the way. One thing that Brian talked about that he missed a lot was the regimen and routine of the Navy and the Army. And he's missing that now too, because he was medically retired. So he's having to learn how to deal with that in his own life and how to create that regimen. Because for those of you who haven't watched movies or been around the military or talked to anyone in the military, it's a regimen thing. They get up at a certain time every single morning. They do this at PT every morning. They do whatever they're involved in. It's a schedule. It's a time. And so it doesn't work for everyone, but for me, I'm very structured. And so it helps me every single day to have a schedule of the things that I'm going to do. So the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning is my alarm goes off at 5:00 in the morning every single day. I go downstairs, I make my coffee, I kind of unwind, I get ready for the day. I start thinking about making those posts that I need to do to promote the podcast, to promote myself. And then I look at my calendar for what I have throughout the day for my day job, which is going out to sell blinds. I try to figure out what I have to do for each appointment, what I'm going to need, how I'm going to attack that and go through that. And then, I go out and I do my job. My schedule, the one thing that does not bode with me very well, but I've learned to deal with it because you do have to be able to make adjustments, is that my schedule isn't the same every day. It's not like I have an appointment at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, I may have one at 10, I may have one at 11, I may have one at 3. So I may have a gap in there and I have to figure out how to do that. And then when I go to a sales call, I sit there and I have a process for what I do. I walk into the house, I talk to the customer about what they want. I go back out, I grab the samples that I think they need. I go back in, I show them, I measure the house, they pick a color, and then I go back out, I make a quote, I come back in, present the offer, and then they decide whether they're going to buy or not. Then at that point when they buy, I go outside and then I'm done. I take the money and I go put in the order and I send the emails off that I need to get everything going. But there's a process to it in my mind, and everything has a process in it. If you get in my truck, you'll look and see there's folders everywhere. There's, things are organized where I can find them so that I can make sure that I can make that happen. And so I've had to do that in my own life. I was never in the military, but I can completely understand where he's coming from, because regimen is something that they've given him. Now he has to learn how to create and organize his own life in a way that continues to give him regimen, because he needs that. But everyone's different. Like I said, not everyone does need that regimen. I do, he does. And if you do, one of the best things you can do is organize that so that you do the same thing every single day, and that will keep your day flowing and keep you going. He also has this podcast called the See Through It podcast. If you haven't watched or listened to it, he also does a live show. You could watch it as well. But if you haven't listened to it, I did, and this is how I found Brian. One of the things that Brian talks about is seeing through whatever this current situation is. And so this could be in whatever it is. It can be in your political beliefs. It could be in current situations and things like that. If you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, the media portrays everything as negative, because what sells? Negative. When you're watching a reality show, because that's why you watch them, right? Because you want to see what everyone else is doing in your life. The negative stuff is the stuff that sells. So they make sure that they put on all the negative stuff. They do put on some of the positive stuff here and there, but they feed you with the negative stuff, because that's like, oh, they got in a fight. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that. You want to get back in there. They want to draw you back in. So what they're doing is they're giving you negative stuff, because it's really easy to talk about the negative things. So he talked about his show, and this is really what I liked about it, is it's objective. Okay. I don't know if you know what that means. Some people don't know what objective means. I think I learned what it was in the 5th grade, but you look at things on both sides of it. Okay. So when we're talking about something, no matter what it is, you look at the bad part of it, you look at the good part of it, and then you decide for yourself. But you're being objective. You don't just go straight to the negative and that's it, or straight to the positive and that's it. You see through it and you form your own opinion. It doesn't matter what side you stand on. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. What you are, that doesn't mean anything. But just make sure that you do the research about what people are saying, because I don't agree with everything everyone says. Everyone has something good to say. President Obama did some good things. President Obama did some bad things. President Trump did some good things. President Trump did some bad things. And that's the thing. It's like, find the middle ground. Make your own decisions yourself. Don't let the media decide for you. Don't let other people decide for you. Do the research yourself. Don't be lazy and figure it out. And then have an active conversation about it. But know your information before you have a conversation about it. I don't speak about a lot of things because it's not in me. I don't want to go out there and sound stupid because I don't know both sides. I'm not going to sit there and go tag up on one side and just sit on my perch and not know anything about the other side. You must be objective no matter what you believe. And that's what I loved about his podcast. The other thing that Brian had going on too that we talked about was his Warrior collection. So one of the things that he's done since he's been out is he's creating a brand, and there's some great things coming from that. But Warriors collection, one of the things that we talked about was the fact that they think just because he has a military background that being a warrior or being a Warriors collection is only about being in the military, and it's not. Being a warrior, and how Brian defined it and how I believe it is as well, is you can be a warrior in everything that you do. It just means working harder. It just means pursuing that goal. It means battling through all those situations, having honor and integrity and all those great things that help you to push through situations. You know, he's a warrior for himself. He's a workout warrior. He's a podcast warrior. He's a truth warrior. Those are the types of things that it can be. I'm a success warrior. That's what I like to say. And that's how I kind of related it to him. I was like, hey, I'm a success warrior. I want to help people find their success. I want people to be better at what they're doing and have the opportunities that other people didn't. I want them to see how I did things and maybe they can draw something from me. But I also want them to see through my guests a little inspiration based on the fact that you can pursue whatever you want, however you want. And so it doesn't matter. Again, you know, we talked about the show. It's you shape your success. You create your success. It's whatever you want it to be. And so that's what people need to understand, is that no matter what you do it to your best ability, and the success you created and the happiness that you generated from that whole situation is based on what you want it to be. So it doesn't matter if you want to work at McDonald's, if you want to be a pro baseball player, if you want to be a pro football player, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be a salesman, whatever you want to do everything to your best of your ability and battle through it. That's what a warrior is, someone who battles through the situation. So anyway, there was a lot of great things that came out of that interview. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I suggest you go back and listen to it, because it was very real and it was very inspiring to hear him work through those things, and hadn't really talked about, we talked in a conversation after the show, and he said, one of the things is I hadn't had this conversation with myself. And so, how he ties everything together, his background, his Warriors collection, his See Through It podcast, and his life in general, how it all related. And so I really liked that. And I challenged him to work through that a little bit more and figure that out and share that with his audience, because he has a great story to tell and it's very inspiring. So if you haven't checked it out, you should reach out to Brian. I'll link his info in the show notes, and reach out to him and let him know that, hey, you inspired me, because it really did inspire me. And that's all I've got for today. But if you have any questions, don't feel free to DM me. That sounded like I said, don't feel free to DM me. DM me. Let me know. If you have any guest ideas, DM me, let me know. It's at wes.tankersley on Instagram. That's the best place to find me. I have a link tree in there. You can email me. All my links to all the podcasts and everything are there. If you'd like to sponsor the show, there's a link in there for a donation if you want to donate. That's who the last question sponsor is, how we talked about in the beginning. The last question sponsor is going to go to the person who donated the most. It doesn't mean you have to be a business or anything like that. We'll give you a shout out. I'll reach out to you and we'll talk about what you want me to say in that last question. And I would love to help promote you. I'd love to give you a shout out. So check out that link in my bio. If it says donate to the show in the link tree, do that. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts and this brought you value, please take a screenshot of it, share it on your social media, tag me, and I will share it. So you'll get another shout out there too. And review it, like it, share it, help me to spread the word. I hope you have a great day. Until next time, I hope that you can find the shape of your success. Have a great day.
This was Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley, brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions. If you need a team of marketers to help you with social media, all you need to do to start is text Wes 2020 to 541-709-6502. 541-709-6502. That is Aggressive Marketing Solutions. Have a great day. See you next time.